All right, welcome to Trib Sports. Oh, I need to turn that on. So we will start with the Lewiston game. Lewiston hosting a playoff game against Lakeland, playing Lakeland for the third time in a week, if you count the Kansas tiebreaker. Sam, you were at the game. Ends in a 1-point loss in overtime. Let's take us into that game.
Yeah, so I mean, it's nightmarish enough to face the same team twice, especially if in like such close quarters. But to face them, effectively 3 times in a span of a week, span of 8 days, that's quite the challenge for both squads, and they both expressed as much. Lewiston ended up losing this one, 28-27, in overtime to Lakeland. Lakeland jumped out to a 21-0 lead, in part thanks to several turnovers. They converted short fields of starting inside or near the Lewiston 20, including a turnover on the first drive where they sacked and forced a fumble on Lewiston quarterback Mason Way, and recovered that ball and then scored a touchdown several plays later. That's something that Lakeland has done throughout the season. Austin Topp had quite the game. He actually ended up throwing a pass as well on a flea flicker. He hit up Mike Earl for a 42-yard gain to set up a later Lewiston touchdown. Yoder had kind of a key sack of the Lakeland QB to dampen an otherwise successful Hawk drive. And then with just the offense doing just enough to get themselves back in the game, and the defense, save for when they had short fields, doing a really good job of controlling Lakeland. And then in overtime, it was the high school overtime rule. So it was kind of like where they were on Monday in the Kansas tiebreaker.
Right.
Mason Way found Jeffrey Yoder for 7 yards on a touchdown, but Lewiston missed the PAT, or they didn't miss the PAT. It was a bad snap. They couldn't get the kickoff, and they tried to run it in desperation and got tackled. Lakeland, on the very first play, they score a touchdown, and they make the PAT to win the game 28-27. So really a heartbreaking one for Lewiston. They were, they were once down 21-0. They stormed back to tie the game. They took the lead, and then Lakeland just kind of took their heart right out of their chest.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, I mean, Lakeland had a chance at a game-winning field goal. I believe it was around a 45-yarder, and couldn't get it done. And then the kicker ends up getting it, in overtime with the PAT, and that's just how it goes. Props to Lewiston for coming back in this game, being down, and Lakeland, a very good team this year, and so Lewiston beating them in the Kansas tiebreaker, and then coming back and having a chance here. Got to give Lewiston props for that, and it seems like, first season under Coach Zane Hobart, definitely up and down at times, but they finished strong. Before we maybe continue with some state football stuff, we'll bounce over to the Washington side real quick. We got Clarkston getting its first win of the season. We got another very narrow win for Pullman. Colfax continues to be undefeated. Cody, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the Washington games from Friday?
Yo ho ho, and a bottle of Coke.
And it is, of course, Halloween. I failed to mention that in the intro.
Yes. And, if Coke is looking for any new mascots, please keep me in mind. Although I suppose I'm more of a Captain Morgan figure at present. Anyway.
Yeah, rum and Coke. Yeah.
The point being, Clarkston Bantams, have not been a bad team, really, all this season. They've had several close games that got away from them. Just recently, they were way ahead against East Valley of Spokane Valley in a league game, and watched that game slip through their fingers. So catharsis for the Bantams as they finish their season with a 21-7 win over North Central of Spokane. They are not going to the playoffs. They are not passing go. They're finished, but they finished the way they would like to. They had their quarterback, Kendry Gimlin, step up with 3 passing touchdowns. They succeeded in holding the Wolfpack to under 100 total yards of offense. I feel good about that for Clarkston. They've been the only, I think, winless area team up until this week in our football world. And meanwhile, Pullman, coming out, as we've said, they seem like they have a nail-biter every week. For a little while there, maybe it looked like they were going to, let us down and just, win comfortably. But then the fourth quarter, the Riverside Rams made a big surge to pull within 3 points, Pullman taking it 32-29 after what was a pretty good game for quarterback Connor Stewart, who passed for 176 yards and 3 touchdowns and ran another one. So he was responsible one way or another for 4 of their 5 touchdowns on the day. I noticed their kicker, Al-Sawahi, who we've talked about in past broadcasts, doesn't seem to have been active in this one. They were going for 2-point plays every time, so hopefully he's all right. But anyway, the Hounds with another win. wrapping out their regular season at 4-5. They were 3-3 in league play. We didn't get to talk to their coach, Kevin Agnew, tonight. We got these results from an email, so I'm not positive what is next for the Hounds, whether their season is over or whether they're potentially still, going to be called up for playoffs. So we'll await further word on that. And finally, the Colfax Bulldogs, as Steph said, they're undefeated. They had another big win today, taking down Liberty of Spangle 41-16 in Northeast 2B League play. Looks like they have one more game on their slate against Freeman of Rockford a week from now, I believe, to close out their regular season. So they're currently 7-0 overall, 5-0 in league. They're, along with Kendrick and Pomeroy, which neither of those teams played this week, they're our undefeated teams, our undefeated vanguard. So big things for Colfax. It's been their best season, certainly since I've been here.
And yeah, with that, we'll bounce back over to the Idaho side and some more state playoff action. A couple big blowouts with Kamei 86-22 over Glens Ferry, as we said. Logos 62-12 over Oakley. Two big wins there. Actually, the only loss from Tribune area teams would be Potlatch with their 64-20 loss to Hagerman. But Cody, you took a lot of these calls today for some of these various games.
Mm-hmm.
Prairie, a narrow win over Valley was the closest game.
Mm-hmm.
Big win for Genesee. What stood out to you from some of these first round state games?
Mm-hmm. Well, as you say, Prairie 50-44 over Valley. Our man Trevor actually took that one today. Trevor, of course, is not with us in studio as he left early to get sleep before he gets up in the morning to cover the state cross-country championships.
Lots of state stuff this weekend.
Yes. We have, we're hard at work to keep the public apprised of their youth's sporting endeavors. Anyway, though, Prairie pulling out the close one against Valley. Mind you, Prairie was way up until Valley rallied in the fourth quarter. Shades of the Pullman game there with Prairie up 50-32 and then giving up 12 points in the final frame. Meanwhile, our big hitters, our area favorites in terms of 2A that played this week. We had Kamei, the second seed, routing Glens Ferry 86-22. We had usual suspects like Everett Oatman and Lawson Landmark in there, just racking up touchdown after touchdown. And we had, they had 410 rushing yards as a team. Not too shabby. They're 8-1 on the season now. The Cubs,
Right.
Only loss coming to the juggernaut Kendrick. Meanwhile, Logos, the third seed in that bracket, routed Oakley, or a team which was until recently another of the small school heavyweights and still qualified for state this year. Routed them 62-12. Logos was actually ahead 62-0 until the Knights, I believe, benched their starters, and the Hornets logged 2 touchdowns in the final frame. The Knights and Cubs could be on a collision course for the state semifinals. Meanwhile, down in Class 1A, we had Genesee taking down the Timberline Spartans. That's an all Whitepine League clash in the first round of state. So none of those results terribly surprising. Potlatch falling 64-20 to Hagerman. Again, Hagerman has been one of the better teams. I believe they're a returning state semifinalist. And that one, a little sentimental for us at the Tribune office because it was the final game coaching in the football coaching career of Ryan Ball, as Steph mentioned earlier. Ryan Ball, who has been one of our most on-the-ball coaches, consistently calls in with all of his facts straight. If you're here working the sports office and you want to get out on time, you wish every coach was a Ryan Ball. Because he calls in and he is ready to rattle off his box score, give you what you need, and you'll be done with it in 5 minutes with a very complete write-up in the making.
Ryan Ball, been around for a long time coach at both Potlatch and Kamei. Believe won a state title with Kamei, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day, and also coaches the boys basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll be sad to see him be stepping down this year.
Looking forward to hopefully taking more calls from him in the basketball season, though.
Yeah, basketball right around the corner. Yeah. But like Cody said, not nothing too crazy as far as any unexpected results with this first round of state. Obviously, Kendrick had a bye. A lot of the area teams, that like you said, the Cami's and Logoses with very big wins. Two of the teams that are ranked the highest in the media poll. And yeah, at the time of recording this, the brackets have not been reseeded. They do like a reseeding, and then they'll publish the matchups. So we don't exactly know, and even the coaches didn't really know exactly who they're going to be playing this next week. But the next round will be, well, aside from Kendrick plays Notice, Logos, they believe they're playing Hagerman, but again, those will be updated in the coming days. So this time we don't have those. Yeah, Sam, anything from you or anything else from you guys on these 1A and 2A playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's like we've been talking about. We're kind of well on our way to having some of these teams meet in later rounds. Obviously, that won't necessarily happen next weekend, but in 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks from now, we could have some very fascinating local matchups with lots of local buy-ins. So we'll keep it right here at the Trib, and we'll keep you covered.
And Cody, we'll bounce back to you. Who is your player of the week?
Definitely Kendry Gimlin of Clarkston, who again passed for all 3 touchdowns to send the Bantams out on cloud 9 with their first and only win of the season. Good to hear about that. I don't know, is Kendry Gimlin a senior or not? I don't.
He's a sophomore.
Okay, yes. So could also be bright hope for tomorrow for the Bantams. Gimlin could be back, and some of these other guys, and like I said, sometimes these teams, they're having these badly losing seasons, but they're really right on the brink of breaking through. It's a small margin, a tipping point. I remember when the Moscow Bears were a terribly losing team, going 0-7 or 0-8, 1-7, that sort of thing. But you could feel that they almost had it. They just were not quite pulling through. And then, within a year, suddenly they were big winners. So could be around the corner for the Bantams. Who knows?
And how about for you, Sam?
I gotta go with Jeffrey Yoder for the Lewiston Bengals in their 28-27 overtime loss to Lakeland. We saw tonight that Jeffrey Yoder, he made several key defensive stops, including on 3rd down. He had a sack for a loss of 13 yards on the Lakeland's quarterback, and he also caught 2 touchdown passes from Mason Way, including the one in overtime. And so Jeffrey Yoder was all over the field. He was pretty active. They were Zane Hobart was saying they were missing him, in previous weeks, just trying to get the tight ends involved in the game, and with him healthy and on the field and involved in the offense, the Bengals looked really, really good.
And with that will wrap up this week of Tribune Sports After Dark. I guess it is worth mentioning for our podcast listeners, Idaho football did get a big win today, 35-32 over Northern Arizona. But with that, we'll wrap up our Trib Sports After Dark. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.
I could also be Samuel Adams.
True.